Welcome to Book Teas. I'm your host, Jamie, and this is the podcast that reminds you that even the mom next door likes her fiction filthy. And speaking of moms, May is for the mothers who misbehave. That's right. May's theme at Book Teas is MILF Mayhem. And as a mom, I'm really looking forward to this theme. I'm excited about it. I think we're going to end up having a lot of different topics of conversation from this, and I'm enjoying just exploring all the different things that being a mom in a romance novel can bring. So, as a reminder, this podcast does contain spoilers. So, if you haven't read this week's book, and you want to check it out before joining us for the discussion, then pause, read it, and come back. This week's book is Mother Faker by Brittanee Nicole, and it is book one in the Momcom series. And the Momcom series is very interesting because it is four books, and each book in the series is written by a different author. So it's more like a compilation than one series by one author. So that's very interesting. I think it's fun, especially since Brittanee in Mother Faker ends up continuing writing in this world that she calls the Boston billionaire world. So Beckett is one of the Boston billionaires, and he's a Langfield brother. And the Langfield brothers are also part of Nicole's Revenge series. So this Boston billionaire world does pop up through different series that Brittany Nicole has. This book opens with a prologue, and I was so confused, y'all, at first. I was like, okay, it opens with Liv, who is our main female character of this book, but then it goes into the different perspectives of three other women. And I was like, what is happening? This isn't usually how romance novel goes. If it's a dual perspective, you get the two main characters of the book, or if there's multiple, if it's a wide choose or a poly type of romance, and we might get like ensnared, we got the different perspectives of like all five men, and then so we were having six different perspectives in different points, but we have different perspectives and it's only in the prologue. But I didn't know that at first. I was reading it going, what the hell is happening? Who are all these other women? I'm sorry. Ignore all the crazy cabinet making noise behind me or in the shop behind me. It's not usually this loud, but they're getting a project out. So it's just like, rah, so you're going to hear a bunch of saws and whatnot. So I apologize for that in advance. I know I'm not going to be able to cut it all out. What ends up happening in the prologue is it sets up what made all four of these women choose to form this, what they call a momcom. And a momcom is short for a mom community or a mom commune, where each of the four moms takes turns or they all pitch in with mothering all of the children, and they all help each other out, and there's no men involved. I'm just going to get into what brought each of these women to the fray. So Liv's husband is cheating with the nanny. How cliche, Drake. How cliche. So they have three kids, and he's kind of a trash dad. Like, he's always like breaking promises and skipping events and everything a good dad shouldn't do. So she's stressed. She has this very demanding job as a PR manager for this huge sports corporation. And she's managing other people, and she's managing the whole department. And now she's also has the three kids. She's a single mom because he's never helping. Even when they were married, he didn't help. So he's definitely not trying to help now. Then we have Shay. Shay's husband died about 2 years prior to this book, and she is still really struggling with it. She has one child, but since her husband died very suddenly of cancer, she is now terrified of everything. She is way overprotective to an unhealthy degree. And she knows that she needs help because, I mean, this poor kid can't even go outside without her like hovering. I mean, she takes the helicopter mom thing to like a whole nother level. Then we have Delia, which is short for Cordelia. I love that name as a fan of Buffy and the Buffyverse. Love the name Cordelia. And so she goes by Delia, and she has just recently quit her very high powered, well paying attorney job because she was passed over for her partner position that was very rightfully deserved, but it ended up going to a man instead. So Delhi is very much a man hater, and she has twin girls who are geniuses. And she had these girls on her own. Like she paid for some really great sperm. I guess that's why they're so brilliant. And she's raising them on her own, but they are like insane genius children, and it's hard. And now, since she quit that job, she can't really afford this expensive lifestyle. So she is going to end up moving into a crumbling down brownstone that her aunt left her. So this brownstone is apparently wonderful real estate, but it is in extreme disrepair. So that's Delia. And then the last one in the group is Dylan. And Dylan is a free spirit, the universe will guide you type. And her son was recently expelled from school, and they don't really say why other than he was being an ass. So that could be anything. And now she's homeschooling him, and she's just like, I don't know, man. Like I just need help. They have an annual girls trip, but Beckett, who ends up being our main male lead, and he is also the boss of Liv. He just decides he cannot go on this trip without Liv. She has to go. She has to attend. So move your girls trip and bring all your friends to this place, this place in Florida that I need you at, and have a working trip, but I'll pay for everyone to go, and they'll have a great time staying at my luxury place, my vacation home in Florida. And anyway, while they're there, they all end up talking, and they all decide, all the women decide, that's it. We're going to all move into this crumbling down brownstone together, and we're going to form this momcom, and we're going to help each other and be there for each other. And we're going to fix it up and live happily as just four friends and their kids. So on to Beckett. Beckett is this no nonsense billionaire businessman, and his family, the Langfields, apparently both own and play in multiple different types of sports. And they own a lot of Boston sports teams. They own a baseball team, a hockey team, and his brother even plays on the hockey team. But his main love is baseball. And so Beckett runs the baseball team. But he passed over on St. Jude's charity. And this somehow spurred this huge PR crisis that he is a child hater. I don't know how, but I guess him being in his 40s and refusing to marry or settle down, I'm sure that helped spur the child. Like, he just hates children. I don't know. I think his ex also said they broke up because he didn't want children, or there was some kind of way that's how the narrative got out, that he just hates kids, and you know, that's not good for business. So so is now a PR problem. And who is head of PR? Liv. So Beckett's dad throws out the idea that, son, you need to date and or marry a single mom. Just get it out there that you are dating and or marrying a single mom. So how could you not like children? And you're a family man and you need to like put it out there because you're in your 40s. And if you don't, then I'm going to not let you run this baseball team anymore. So he and Liv have a trip in Vegas and they're there to work. They're there to try to make some trades to work. But he gets drunk and then she comes to the bar and they both get drunk and he's telling her about the problem and he's telling her what her father said and blah blah blah. They wake up the next morning in Vegas drunk. They wake up married. So apparently, some point during the night, they decided that they were going to get married and that was going to fix the PR issue. And he said he would give her 100 grand to fix up the brownstone if she married him. After freaking out in the morning, they decide to just proceed with the marriage and agree that they're going to write up an actual contract and agree that it's a fake marriage. It'll have an end date. Um, her stipulation was no PDA, nothing in front of her children, that she knows her children are going to have to take pictures and be involved in this, but she doesn't want to tell them that they're married. And his stipulation is, well, I don't want to tell anyone that it's fake. Like, we won't tell your kids anything, but I don't want to tell anyone that it's fake. And including my family, I want to roll with it like it's real. And now the reason behind this is we find out he has had a huge crush on her for eons, like since he met her. And he has wanted to say something, but she was married. And she was married to kind of an ass. And he hated her husband, but he watched her get pregnant and he watched her have this man's children. And he was just like, well, I never want to get married because the only woman I like, I can't have. And so he compared everyone to Liv. And so, anyway, this is his golden opportunity. So, in his mind, he's like, I'm going to use this opportunity to convince her that she needs to love me and that we're going to make this marriage real. Because in his head, he's saying, well, to me, it's already real. So, we just need to kind of talk her into it. So, doesn't tell his family that it's a fake marriage or that it's a PR stunt marriage and that um they have a agreement or anything. So when his parents, who they all know Liv, she works for their Langfield Corporation. She works for their family. They've all met her, worked with her for years. They're all like, "Oh my God, we knew he had a thing for you. He finally said something." And she's like, "What?" Because he didn't tell her that he had a thing for her. So his parents, their home has to have some renovations done. So they're like, well, you know what? If you're moving in with Liv to not uproot the kids, can we just stay in your penthouse while we have our home renovated? And he's like, oh, okay, fine. So he ends up moving into this insane, crumbling down brownstone as well. Let me tell you about this brownstone, y'all. It's one of the girls, one of the women, her wall is just studs in her room. One whole wall is just like studs. And then there's a step that they nicknamed Trippy that if you step on it, you end up like hurting yourself. It pops up and hits you in the shin. And then there's a raccoon coming down the fireplace. And I mean, everything's breaking. There's wires hanging. I mean, this place sounds condemned. And they're all staying here and they're trying to fix it up bit by bit. But here's something nobody thinks to fix up. And it drives me fucking nuts. Okay. When he shows up and it's supposed to be so cute, but the outside is covered in decorations from various holidays. There's some ghosts hanging off on the stairs. There's a sign in the door that says Happy V Day or It's 'cause words or letters are falling off of it, so it's like Valentine's Day. There's a Christmas wreath hanging on the door. These are all easy fixes, okay? I get why it's taking you a minute to get the roof fixed, but I need to know why you didn't think, "Hey, let's just go clean up the outside a little bit." Nobody thought that was important. They're just like, "Oh, we're just gonna leave this looking a shambles out here." That drove me nuts. All of these people are intelligent, business minded, or, just intelligent, grown ass people, all moms. And you're telling me none of these moms are like, hey, you know what? I think I'm going to put that Christmas wreath up because it doesn't make any sense. There's even 4th of July stickers sticking on the window. I mean, it is a freaking mess. Like, and nobody even wants to clean up the outside. It doesn't make any sense. It's supposed to be just this cute, kitschy thing. And it just drove me crazy. So there's 7 kids total in this brownstone, y'all. 7 kids total. Liv has 3. She's got a little girl that's not even 2 yet. Then she's got a little boy who is about 4, and he's adorable. He likes to run around in with a tutu on. Like, so he'll wear a normal, like, he'll wear pants or he'll wear army fatigues or something like that, but he seems to always want to pair a tutu with stuff, much to his father's chagrin. His father gave him, like, shamed him over it, which, give me a break, Drake. Come on, let the boy wear a tutu. Who gives a fuck? Like, how how insecure is your masculinity that you're that worried about your 4-year-old son wearing a tutu? Give me a break. So, anyway, he runs around, he shoots Nerf guns. He's just the cutest thing. And then she has an 8-year-old daughter named Winnie, and she is like really into art and she's more on the shy side. And she's the one the father is always letting down and breaking her heart. So, that's her 3 kids. Then Delia has 2 twin girls, and I already said they are geniuses, but these girls, from the second Bennett arrives, if he says a curse word, they charge him $1,000. $1,000 per curse word. And this goes on throughout the whole book, and it's supposed to be just this cute anecdote. But I'm like, by the end of the book, he's given them like 20 grand. It is ridiculous. I know he's a billionaire, but give me a break. Why are you just like Venmoing these kids $1,000 per curse word? And then he starts saying ducking all the time. I'm just like, put your foot down and say no. 5 kids deep. There's 2 more. Dylan has a teenage son, and he's Liam, and he's the one who got expelled from school. And then Shay has Kai, and he's about 8 as well, 7 or 8. And he's really shy and quiet because his mother's so overprotective. Okay, those are all 7 of the kids. Back to Beckett. He is an extreme perfectionist, but he is loving all the kids and he's loving the chaos and he's come up with nicknames for everybody. And it's like a whole thing. Each of the women has a nickname. There's something about Beckett I don't like. And I liked Beckett overall. I thought he was all right, but I did not like that he was, and I don't want to say misogynist. Misogynist is kind of a strong word for him, but he is very much a macho type. And he's all like, when the women are all end up on their period, he's like, let's get out of here and leave these whiny women here. Like, he's scared of their menstrual cycle. And he says men don't need to be around. Birthing is for the women. And then he's all about, well, we got to protect the women. Like, we're the men. We're in charge of the house. This is not your house, dude. Chill out. Chill all the way out. So I'm understanding that Brittany Nicole likes these macho men that really amp up gender normative roles and are all about, the men are the protectors and the men are this and the men are that. And I don't dig that. And I did not dig that aspect of Beckett's personality, especially since it didn't feel like it fit because he is such a softy to Liv, and he's going out of his way to do different sweet things for Liv, and he is telling her, even though she doesn't seem to compute, which is really annoying because she is a brilliant woman, why is she not computing when he straight up says, "It's not fake to me. I've always wanted you. I think you're sexy." Uh, She's still like, "Oh, he really wants me?" Okay, y'all go on a work trip and end up banging a lot. Yes, he wants you. So, I don't know. I know her ex-husband kinda did a number on her, and so she has a drop in self-esteem. She's also very curvy, and being plus size, she doesn't think she's as attractive because of, you know, societal standards on what an attractive woman should be, and for some reason, curves isn't part of it. I don't know. I thought, curves on a woman were a blessing, a good thing, but I guess only certain proportions. But yeah, she has lower self-esteem, I suppose. And so when he tells her straight out, "I really like you. I find you attractive. I really, he's doing all these sweet things for her," and she still just doesn't compute that, hey, he actually wants to be with me. Well, a bunch of funny stuff happens during the course of them living in this house together. I already explained the $1,000 a pop, but Beckett ends up getting more and more involved. He gets really, really involved with the kids, and he wants to be there for them, and he's showing up for them in the ways their father never did. And encourages um, Finn to just be himself, and says absolutely nothing about Finn wearing a tutu to a baseball game that he brings him to, and that I really appreciated, but it didn't quite fit with him, men are men, being like, "Oh, but I'm totally cool with you wearing a tutu." I'm glad of it, but I was just trying to connect the dots, I suppose. In the end of the book, because it's a romance novel, Liv finally grasps it. He's like, "This was never fake to me. I've always wanted you. I want this marriage to work." And in the end, she ends up confessing that she also loves him. But she wants to stay in the brownstone with the other women in the momcom. She wants him to move in. She doesn't want to move into his super nice penthouse. Why? Why? You're still in Boston. You could be friends with your friends and still hang out with them on the reg and, help them out with you don't have to live in the fallen down brownstone that you refuse to take the old decor off. Like you could go live in a nice penthouse. I don't know. It didn't make sense to me. But he was like, "Well, this has become home to me, so I'm fine with it." Here's something about Delia I didn't like during the whole book. She knows this brownstone's falling apart. She knows it's falling apart. However, she is like holding the reins super tight on what contractor, what projects, because she doesn't want to in any way mess up the historical value of the home or to I mean, like, come on, fix the roof, man. If it caves in from all the water damage, the historical value of the home is going to be fucked, right? So, I mean, like, loosen the reins a bit, Delia. They made her such a tight ass man hating person that I found her a bit insufferable, even though I really liked her and I liked all the interactions between the women. Delia, I was like, I probably would have a hard time being friends with her. I'd be like, "Why? Why don't you just chill a little bit?" All 4 of the women are so different, but I mean, my favorite part of the book was their interactions together. Like I said, at the end of the book, they're together, everyone's happy, the PR scandal's not a big deal. Um, Even Delia decides that she likes Beckett and is good with him moving in. She's like, "You're an idiot, but you're our idiot." I was like, "Okay, Delia." I'm struggling with the rating of it. I will say that this book read a lot better than listening to The Darling Daffodil Farm. It read a lot better. I remember I listened to the Darling Daffodil Farm and I was like, y'all, I don't know. Like the narrator's pissing me off. Like, I don't know. I'm not digging it. Reading this book went a lot better. I loved the female interactions. I loved the friend group. I loved the representation of motherhood. I felt it was very realistic in some cases. And so I really enjoyed that. And, even the romance part, watching hard ass, buttoned up Beckett slowly come unraveled and bend over backwards for this sweet Liv who doesn't even see her own beauty. I loved all of that. There was heart in the book. There was a lot of humor. There was parts that I laughed, but there was also discrepancies, like, he has blue eyes now, or he has green eyes, now he has brown eyes. I'm like, he looks like Henry Cavill, he looks like I'm like, I don't know, or Henry Cavill. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Is he a hard ass? Like, is he a misogynistic type, or is he like this cinnamon roll? I don't know, I struggled, but I still really liked the book. I don't feel like I can give it a full 4 stars. But I don't wanna drop it to 3, so I'm like, 3.75? Is that ridiculous to do a 3.75? I have no idea how I would even show a 3.75, but that's where I'm feeling that it's a 3.75. There were some things that fell really short to me, some things that I was just like, "I don't know what's happening." But overall, I thought it was really sweet. So, you know what? It's my podcast. I can do the ratings however I want, and I'm giving it a 3.75. I'll figure it out. I'll figure out how to show that. The spice level, I'm giving a 3. There was some good spice in there. It was a little more toned down than what we got in Darling Daffodils. It was still really good. There was still some like kink and all that, but there wasn't as much of it because they had to work around their busy work schedules and they had to work around having 3 kids and living in a brownstone with 7 kids and 3 other adults. And I mean, my God. I mean, that part I loved. I thought that was realistic that they're finding time to even kiss. He is super obsessed with her having his last name. He's walking around Olivia Langfield, Liv Langfield. What if she didn't even take his name? It's supposed to be a fake marriage. I don't think she popped off and went to the courthouse or went to the social security place and got her name officially changed. I just don't think that she did that. So she's not a Langfield until she does that. Just because she married you doesn't automatically mean that she gets your identity and her name and everything is just gone. That's not how that works, sir. But he is like super obsessed with her being a Langfield and having his last name. And let's move on to quotes. I actually have quite a few, and they're from various people. They're not even all from the 2 main characters. So I love this one because, as far as like being a mom and having this be a mom centered month, I love I love this quote. This is from Liv. That's all we really get as mothers, moments. We spend the vast majority of our waking hours running or yelling or scrambling or failing. Truer words, babe. Truer words. I feel that all the time. All right, here's a Liv again. This is the Mondayest Monday I've had in a long, long while. I just thought that was cute because haven't we all felt the case of the Mondays? And this happened because someone kept stealing all the matches to her shoes, which made no sense because they tried to say later on, like she thought it was the twins, like being rude because they do that. They play pranks, and that's why he calls them the Shining Twins. But it ended up being the raccoon, and I'm like, why would the raccoon specifically steal the match to each shoe? Wouldn't they just grab a shoe randomly if they wanted? And why was it only ever Olivia's shoes? I don't know. Who's to say? But the whole raccoon thing I could have done without. Here's Beckett. The word mommy alone is all it takes for me to release her. Damn it if there's ever been a more effective cock block. Really? You know she's a mom. You're in a whole brownstone full of moms. Why are you like shriveling up over the word mom? Mommy. Like, whatever, dude. She's not your sex kitten. She is a mom. I mean, she can be both, but you better not get all weird about the fact that she's a mom, you know? So, anyway, here's Beckett. Your ex was an ass. I'm your husband now. Don't thank me for treating you the way you deserve to be treated. This quote I had to include because it kind of shows the juxtaposition of Beckett. Like, you're mine. You're my wife. He's always calling her that. Is my wife, my kids, and my wife. And she's a Langfield. And, you know, I'm your husband. But then he's like, but don't thank me for treating you the way you deserve to be treated, which is a very sweet and true statement, right? So I'm like, are you the possessive macho ass or are you the cinnamon roll? Or are you the sweet guy? Like, he's some weird blend of both that I'm having trouble reconciling. But anyway, ultimately, I ended up liking him more than Walker was his name in the Darling Daffodils farm. He just didn't ring it for me, but I like Beckett a little more. This is Delia. And I liked, okay, Delia got on my nerves with the whole, I have to approve everything, but ultimately I did like Delia in her feminist ways. So this is Delia. After, let me set this quote up. Liv had to go to the doctor and she explains how her least favorite part of going to the doctor, the part that gives her the anxiety, is when she has to step on the scale. That when they tell you to take your shoes off, and she's like, "Ugh, I would rather they let me leave my shoes on so I can blame at least 10 pounds on my clothes and my shoes." And we've all felt that. It does not matter how in shape you are. I've gone to the doctor and I hate getting on that scale. It always seems like it's heavier than my one at home anyway. And so, I mean, like, I felt that. But this is what Delia had to say to that. The BMI scale was created by men using men's bodies. It doesn't account for the fact that we birth children and then have the lives sucked out of us by our spawn. Who the hell has time to monitor their food intake, work out, and be a perfect parent? Then she goes on to say, after taking a good long sip of wine, fuck the patriarchy and the way it's made us all question our self worth. And here's Beckett about how much he's always loved or been attracted to Liv. I've been looking at her like this for years, and I'm tired of pretending I'm anything but obsessed with my wife. He, like I said, keeps calling her my wife, mine, mine, mine. Ever since they got married in Vegas, he looks at her and he's like, that's mine, she's mine, 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 mine. Okay, this one's gonna show what I mean about the machismo-ness of Beckett. Okay, Liam, Dylan's son, the teenager, is a huge fan of New York baseball team. And they're playing Beckett's team. So Beckett invites him and the boys, all the boys in the house, invites them. Let's go to this baseball team. We'll sit in the owner's box. You'll get to watch your favorite team play. Blah, blah, blah. And we'll get away from all the women who are on their period. So Liam actually accepted this invitation, even though at this point in the book, he's not a fan of Beckett at all. So this is Beckett. It's not something he says, it's something he thinks. Saying no to box seats to watch his favorite team play just to spite me and staying home with 4 whiny women. He may not be my biggest fan, but he's got a healthy sense of self-preservation. Give me a break. They're on their period. Why don't you be nice instead of running off and order them some Chinese or something? Order them a pizza, get them some wine and some chocolates and a heating pad and just help watch all the kids. Instead, he's like, I'm leaving all the girls. I'm taking off. So they're still left with 4 kids, 4 out of the 7. This is a weird turn, and I've got to include it because to me, it just came out of nowhere. Okay. Out of nowhere. This is Liv. Maybe I'm delusional, but he worked so hard to break things. So we were forced to fix them. Why else would he do that if he didn't care? Sure, it's slightly unhinged, but isn't that precisely what love is? No, no, it's not. What are you talking about? And this is what happened. Dylan decided to go through the security footage in the house because they got a security camera, even though they have broken stairs and weird decor everywhere. But whatever, to each their own. She goes through the security camera and sees that Beckett has been sabotaging the house. He's been breaking little things like the water and little things that already needed to be repaired. He'd break it further to where it just caused a mess, and then he would go to fix it, and he used this as leverage to get Delia to finally pick a contractor and start some of the projects. Okay, I get your rationale, sir, but that's weird how she correlates that with love. Like, oh, he's going around breaking shit. He must love me. Why don't he sit down and just have a meeting and look, Delia, I understand this is your place and I totally want to be respectful of you and your decision. However, we have to get this place in working order. That's the whole point. I'm working with you. Let's prioritize picking a contractor. I'm going to pay and see what order let's let the roof be the primary or the highest priority, and then we'll go from there. But I want to make sure that we are doing this and everything is approved by you, but I would like you to budge a little and actually move on it. I mean, like, you could have she is a businesswoman. She is a lawyer, a very, very good attorney. Like, you should be able to have this conversation with her without sabotaging the house and being sneaky about it. But whatever, that's what love is. This is from the acknowledgments. And I liked it so much on the mom aspect that I had to include it, even though it's not an actual quote from the book. It is in the acknowledgments. So it is from the author. And this is what she said. You know the saying, if we don't laugh about it, we'll cry. That's kind of how this series came to be. 4 women sitting around commiserating about how hard motherhood, marriage, and writing is, and laughing over glasses of wine about the ridiculous things that happen to us on the daily. I thought that was just so cute because how many times I can visualize sitting around with my girlfriends with some wine, just chatting and laughing and be like, and then this happened, and then that kid did this. I mean, how many times? I'm probably going to do that tomorrow when I hang out with my girlfriend. So it's just, I can see it. But all of them being writers, they're like, why don't we do a series where we're each writing a book and it's around these moms and they come up with this cute idea. And I just loved it. And it showed that bit of that quote from that acknowledgement showed me why the friendships in the book ended up being my absolute favorite part. In my mind, the friendships between the 4 women outshone the primary love interest in the book. Because I just loved the women and them dealing with this weird ass brownstone house and all the crazy that came with it. It just, yeah. Okay. So let's move on to casting before we close this out. For Liv, I did something a little unconventional for me. I have to say, finding full-figured leading ladies is very difficult. It is woefully underrepresented. Having full-figured women that aren't just like a comedic factor or, like actually full-figured romantic leading ladies. Like, why? Why don't we want curvy women? Anyway, so I had to think outside the box. And I was just like, okay, let's just go celebrities, period. And I landed on Ashley Graham. She is a Victoria's Secret plus size supermodel, and she is absolutely fucking gorgeous. I She's curvy, and she is the way Liv is written. Liv is written as being curvy, but I, but put together, and I was just like, yes, yes, that's Liv. That's my Liv. And I cannot be swayed. I am not taking any notes about it. I'm moving forward. I know she's not an actress. I don't care. I don't care. This would be an interesting movie though. And maybe if they did make this into a movie, the Hollywood powers that be would find the need to cast a curvy romantic lead. Here's hoping. For Beckett, I'm going with Matt Bomer. He he was in the White Collar TV show, which I like that show. I watched the whole thing. I thought it was great. He was also in Magic Mike. But here's the thing. All of the Langfield brothers are described as having a resemblance to Henry Cavill. But I didn't want to cast Henry Cavill because Beckett is described as being very polished, very put together, really buttoned up, just like Mr. Businessman. And to me, that's not Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill is the Witcher, dude. Like, I'm thinking he's a little more gruff, and he would fit one of the other brothers better, like the hockey player brother or something. But as far as Beckett, I wanted someone that was a little more polished, a little more professional looking. And Matt Bomer has that look. He is a very handsome man, and he does have a resemblance to Henry Cavill in like the eyes and the hair and everything. But he is really buttoned up, and I think it would be so fun to watch him unravel. So that's what I'm locking in. And with that, it brings us to an end. And thank you so much for joining us. And next week, we're going to continue our MILF Mayhem series. And I can't wait. So again, thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, stay spicy.
And that's it for this episode of Book Tease. Book and theme reveals and episode commentary can be found at TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Book Tease Pod. Theme music is by The Scraps. And until next time, stay spicy.